AJ Lee is in the headlines for a very surprising reason, so we'll see what's that about. We'll also check out what's going on with Liv Morgan, Seth Rollins, and more. Starting things off with AJ Lee, because this was a bit surprising. AJ is currently absent from television at the moment, and everyone online has been asking about her and when we could see her again. Well, a random Facebook account with an AJ Lee display name and profile picture posted a message on their page as if they were AJ, saying that she's not injured, just doing some book-related appearances, how she'll be back for Becky Lynch, and how Becky is keeping the title warm for her. Every single major wrestling news website out there ran immediately to make an article about these comments, supposedly from AJ Lee. It was plastered everywhere that AJ Lee had allegedly made this statement, and everyone was covering the story. But if they would have taken a couple of seconds to scroll down and investigate the page a bit, it was clear that it was a fake page a fan had created, and was not actually AJ herself. The like counts were low, they were posting AI images of AJ and other wrestlers, just very clear that it was fake. Plus, AJ has used her Twitter and Instagram for all major announcements in recent memory. So for her to be radio silent on those major platforms, but post an update on a small Facebook page, that itself was suspicious. Just very shocking that some of the major outlets didn't dive into the matter and take the time to verify the post. Despite the post being from a fake fan page impersonating AJ, the context of the message is still what's being rumored at the moment. A lot of people were weirded out by AJ's long disappearance following her return match, and fans wondered if she did get a bit hurt or banged up in that match. But according to reports, there's been no news at all about AJ suffering any injury during her return match. It looks like her absence is just related to her busy schedule and lack of any free time at the moment. And like the fake post said, everyone still expects AJ to come after Becky Lynch whenever she gets some free time for return. Still a lot of story to tell there between AJ and Becky. AJ scored that one over Becky, so the next logical thing would be a singles match for the Intercontinental title. It would be really weird if AJ returns and just moves on to something else without wrapping up this program with Becky first. So fans still expect to see AJ versus Becky in the future. The Vision betraying Seth Rollins was such a hot and surprising moment, but unfortunately we won't be seeing any direct follow-up with the story from Seth's point of view, since he's been written off television for a long time now with that shoulder surgery. But we still got to see Seth's reaction to the betrayal through the usage of Becky Lynch's character. Becky Lynch approached Paul Heyman backstage, and we see Paul Heyman instantly backstep on some of the things he said earlier in the night. He said that he had no choice but to leave Seth Rollins due to the Bronze conspiring against Seth. Paul Heyman even pitched the idea to Becky of her staying with the Vision, offering to be her oracle, but Becky Lynch turned the offer down and went absolutely crazy on Paul Heyman. Becky said that she never trusted Heyman at all. Becky reveals that Seth Rollins wasn't relying on Paul Heyman, how Seth allegedly used Paul Heyman, and how he was always expecting a betrayal from Heyman. Becky even said that Seth expected it to happen much sooner, and how he's actually surprised that it took Paul Heyman this long to betray him. Becky promised that Seth will not put hands on Paul Heyman when he comes back, because Heyman is nothing to him and will be nothing without him. But Becky pointed out that Seth will come for anyone that Heyman surrounds himself with, and anyone that Heyman loves in the business. Becky said that Seth isn't going to take Heyman out, but he's going to wish he did once he gets done taking out all his friends and loved ones. This was an absolutely stunning interaction by Paul Heyman and Becky Lynch. Heyman was fantastic as usual, and Becky Lynch was on a whole other level with her delivery there as well. Can't ask for anything more perfect there with that interaction. This moment is important because assuming everything that came out of Becky's mouth is true, that really changes the whole aspect of the Vision. Something that some fans pointed out over the last few months was the lack of on-screen chemistry between Rollins and Heyman. Fans were just saying that they didn't really feel a bond between Rollins and Heyman the way they felt and saw it with Heyman and Punk, or Heyman and Roman. The Heyman and Seth relationship was nowhere near as strong as those other relationships appeared to be, and Becky's words here indirectly address that and patch it up. Apparently Seth Rollins never trusted Paul Heyman the entire time that the Vision was together. Seth was just using him and was anticipating a betrayal the whole time they were paired up. So that is a pretty slick story explanation to explain the lack of chemistry. Rollins didn't trust Heyman the entire time, and Heyman was probably looking for the best moment to strike on Seth the entire time. So their characters basically were both being fake with each other the whole time, and that could explain why the chemistry felt a bit weird at moments. Definitely some big reveals right there by Becky Lynch that makes you look back at everything that happened with the Vision through a whole other perspective. Seth apparently knew it was coming and has a plan well in place for how he plans to handle it once he's back. Becky's comments were great because it did set that story of Seth's return already in place. It sounds like Seth's return sometime next year will include him coming after whoever Paul Heyman is connected with at that time. If Heyman is still with the Bronze by the time Seth Rollins returns, it looks like that Seth will be coming after them right away. If Paul Heyman is with Brock Lesnar at the time, it sounds like Seth will come after Brock. That definitely appeared to be what Becky was alluding to there. Anyone that Paul Heyman has feelings for is getting taken out by Seth Rollins. So that puts the Bronze and Brock Lesnar instantly on Seth's hit list for 2026. And assuming that Heyman still has some feelings for Roman and Punk, maybe that means Seth can go after them as well. So it was an amazing speech by Becky Lynch that beautifully set the foundation for Seth's grand return and storyline in 2026. Seth Rollins will definitely have a busy year next year. Some positive news is coming out regarding a big return that a lot of fans are excited for, and that's Liv Morgan. Liv went down suddenly and unexpectedly back in June due to a freakish spot in a match with Kairi Sane. The injury came at a terrible time for Liv Morgan because it was still very much a crucial part of Raw and had so much active storylines revolving around her. Liv had the power struggle with Finn, her romance with Dominic, she was one half of the tag team champions, and she had just kicked off a big feud with Nikki Bella at the time. Literally just a whole world of stories revolving around her that all had to be paused, put on hold, and canceled due to her injury. Originally, Liv Morgan was slated for an early 2026 return to the ring, but according to new reports, there's some rumors and buzz going around that Liv may be a little ahead of schedule in her recovery process. Reports claim that Liv Morgan has already returned to the Performance Center in recent weeks and has been training for her return. Given Liv's recent appearances at the Performance Center and this word of her recovery process going smoothly, that has opened up the discussion again about if we can see Liv Morgan return even earlier than her previously expected early 2026 timeframe. And that rumor has got fans very excited and thrilled about that possibility. When Liv was around, they were putting a lot of emphasis on the Roxanne and Dominic dynamic. But with Liv gone, they slammed the brakes on all things related to Dominic and Roxanne. However, on a recent episode of Raw, Roxanne did make a new move onto Dominic, giving him some words of advice and helping him out. So if they're engaging Dominic and Roxanne in conversation again, could that be a small sign that the early surprise return from Liv Morgan is on the way after all? Definitely something to watch out for there. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.